when poets create beautiful works of poetry, they very rarely consider the impact with regard to money. Nobody writes poems for profit. But I believe, having read lots of poetry over the years, that there is lots we can learn from poetry, and certainly in marketing, because poetry is the language of the soul. It really, really speaks volumes about humans and emotions. And I think marketing is not so far away from that. Not quite as poetic, perhaps, because there's a functional output required from marketing, but I think there's lots of lessons. And so this video is called Profit from Poetry. And what I want to do is flag up a couple of key lines from 3 poems and their lessons that will absolutely make your marketing more profitable. So if you've ever wanted to make money out of poetry, now's your chance. And by the way, I'd love to know if you think of any other lines from poems that are relevant. Please do, wherever you're watching this or reading this, please do comment tag below. So the first poem is a William Butler Yeats poem. The poem is called The Second Coming, and it's one of the most influential poems I think I've ever read because it was so incredibly poetic and powerful. And the line that really inspires me from a marketing and a business and a life perspective, of course, this is about life more widely, not just about marketing. The line is early on in the poem. William Butler Yeats says, "Things fall apart, the center cannot hold." Now he's talking in reference to a falcon and a falconer, and how the falcon responds to the falconer in a circle called the gyre. And in that circle, the falconer has control, has voice control, command control over the falcon. But when the falcon goes out, just goes outside the gyre, the width, that diameter of the circle of control, at that point, things fall apart, the center cannot hold. The falconer no longer has control over the falcon. And there's a huge lesson here. I'm a big advocate of starting small and simple when it comes to marketing. In fact, any task. How do you eat an elephant? In small pieces. And the same is true here. You have to start small and simple and build it out from there. For me, close, simple control is better than distant, complicated anarchy. It's really, really important. I'm not saying don't do anything. On the contrary, I'm just saying start small and simple and build from there. Don't try and do everything in overnight, because I've seen it tried and it doesn't work. Even if you have massive amounts of resources, you can't go from 0 to hero without tons of pain, and pain takes time. You can't speed that up. So you have to build a sustainable architecture for marketing. Start with one campaign. Do it well. Execute the absolute living hell out of it. Be awesome because of that one campaign. Then do another campaign, and then another. And after time, you will have built up an architecture around you that allows you to run a multitude of concurrent campaigns, different audiences, with different messaging, with different calls to action, with lots of different ways of thinking about things, and lots of people in your team or outside your business as outsourced or out-tasked providers helping along the way. But you can't go from 0 to 100 miles an hour overnight and have the most complicated marketing system. And for small to medium businesses, certainly for smaller businesses, absolutely, definitely start small. You probably won't need to go that big. And frankly, you probably won't be able to go that big, because the work required to run marketing campaigns brilliantly isn't 5 seconds a day. You're going to have to get involved. So with most of my clients that come on the masterclass or that join me in Mastermind, in the Marketing Leadership Mastermind, most of them, we start very simple and we give them control and we give them functional understanding of what it is they need to do and how they're going to do it and what the impact will be. What we don't do is load them up with a million things to do that's setting them up to fail, and then they're going to blame marketing. No one ever blames themselves. They're always going to blame marketing. They're going to say the marketing's rubbish, Al's rubbish, X is rubbish, Y is rubbish, whatever. They're going to blame everything else apart from themselves. And that's a massive problem for marketing, because marketing is hugely effective when it's done right. So start small and simple, build from there. Most important thing, if you want to avoid getting too ambitious in this regard, is beware the ego. Egotistically, we always want to be seen to be doing more. The second poem is from Emily Dickinson, and I absolutely fell in love with the poetry of Emily Dickinson at university, and she has a phenomenal poem number 1129, because they're all numbered, and it starts "Tell all the truth." Now, I'm not going to read you the whole poem. I urge you to go and read it. It's very short. It's a very, very short piece of work, but it's absolutely incredible. And the line that matters most is, "The truth must dazzle gradually." The truth must dazzle gradually. Beyond belief of how that impacted on me. Storytelling, like relationship building, isn't instantaneous. Storytelling, like relationship building, isn't instantaneous. It's a complex, myriad set of signals over time and space. And if you try and rush it, if you try and tell the truth quickly, as Emily Dickinson continues, or every man be blind. The truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. If you try and give too much information to your market too quickly without building a sustainable relationship framework underneath it, people will feel it to be a sales pitch, or they won't understand it at all. And it will just absolutely self-destruct on you. It won't be the result you want. So dazzle gradually. And the last piece of work I want to reference is Dylan Thomas, from the incredible piece of work, "Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night." Many people will have heard of this, and it's a story about his father, his devastation of the loss of his father, and something that I can recognize because of the loss of my father, and I think it's very valuable for the loss of anything, but certainly a parent. But the line in the poem, of course, that's the most relevant is, "Do not go gentle into that good night." The title line, and it is so powerful. And the rest of the poem is incredible. You have to read it. Ultimately, in marketing terms, the reason I think this is relevant is you must fight for your place, not through anger, but through action. You must fight for your place, not through anger, but through action. Conversation mastery ultimately isn't about force. It's about feeling. It's about feeling. It's about how you feel. It's about how your market feels. And my dog is just about to eat the chocolate, so quick interlude. Loki, can you please get down? Thank you. For all of you who listen to this, we will remove it from the text, but all of you lucky video listeners will absolutely get to enjoy that real life moment there. Such is life. So, Dylan Thomas, "Do not go gentle into that good night. You must fight for your place, not through anger, but through action." Now, the poem goes on to talk about rage. But for me, rage is about action. I know there's a lot of emotion and heat there, but he's talking about his father. That's understandable in that context. He wants his father to rage. I want you to rage. I want your marketing to rage, but in a positive, non-ragey way. Fight for your place through anger, not action. And ultimately, conversation mastery isn't about force. It's about feeling. So, quick summary. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Start small and stay simple. The truth must dazzle gradually. So, storytelling, like relationship building, isn't instantaneous. And do not go gentle into that good night. Conversation mastery isn't about force. It's about feeling. I hope that helps.